interesting features. This wedge that we were sort of talking about could be an extra sense, something that goes beyond what our senses have. And then I was thinking, see, I'm like writing fiction and designing on the fly while I'm like concepting it out, but that's what we do here sometimes. Then I was thinking, well, the Banu could have possibly, maybe 3 extra senses that we don't have. They're sort of, their main thing is trading, and they're traders, right? So they're friendly, they want to be able to be at peace with many different races. Obviously it's hard with the Vanduul, but they're willing because they want to trade. And so that sort of salesmanship could be, benefited with some extra senses to be able to sort of know when the other person is either bidding too high or bidding too low, or just reading other races well enough to get them to make a buy or get them to sell something that they want. So that's what we're thinking with that. The original skin was very sort of oily, and it's gone back and forth, and it's still sort of up in the air as far as the final skin material, but because we were thinking they almost look too waterborne, and I don't think they're going to be anywhere near water. That doesn't play into them, even though they have kind of eel-like skin. Supposedly we do know that they live a very long time, possibly longer than anybody knows. And so the idea was, okay, well, how do you show the change in different ages? Would they all look the same? Or would you see, since supposedly they heal very quickly, would you see lots of battle scars on older people? Or would they just heal away? Would the skin color change? Would the skin texture, as far as would it dry out? Would it get wrinkly, over time? Obviously they can be killed, like similar to the Highlander cutting off their heads, or any zombie cut off their heads, and that would pretty much kill them. But their cells don't die on their own, so there's no aging. So we're trying to think of a way where we can distinguish what they look like, because we don't want a whole bunch of just cloned, looking the same Banu. Since they're sort of a friendly race, they present that sort of warmness to others, but there is a little bit of deception that you could read behind the eyes. The eyes were purposely made very, very dark. There's something in there, but you don't see like a pupil, a corneas. You don't see any white, and that might be like something with this extra sense we're talking about. And it's sort of disturbing when you're looking, because you're looking and this Banu's talking to you with these black eyes, and you can't sort of read what he's saying, but he can read you. And so it's a little unnerving sometimes when you're talking to a Banu. So as far as the clothing, the clothing is going to be basic and understated, sort of slim-fitting on their slim bodies. Probably a lot of leather-like materials. Probably very covered up, because they want to be hiding a lot. So maybe a long turtleneck going all the way down, very tight-fitting, very sort of understated. Now, where the culture comes in is the things that they adorn onto their clothing, whether it's paint marks or patches or tattoos or rings or any of that, either on their clothing or on their actual skin and their body, with tattoos and adornment there. So that, because their homeworlds are very sort of culture based, and you go from one homeworld to another Banu homeworld, and they're very different. This one has its own colorful culture, and this one is very different. And then in the same time of these like sort of brightly cultured different Banu worlds that you go to, it's intermixed with a lot of crime activity, both from Banu crime and both from like other races coming in to try to take advantage of all the trade going on. So they do have a militia to deal with a lot of that, but that's sort of the I guess dichotomy is the right word, to have the goodness and the business side that they're trying to do right next to a back alley where somebody's trying to, take something from you, like, I guess just a big city in like New York or something. Basically, the design as it is now will be a chest up version with complete paint job, complete skin job, finished concept art of what it's going to look like, maybe showing a couple of variations. Then the next steps would be to finish out the body, which will come a little bit later. And then once we finish out the body, then we could release a whole other sort of package as far as like showing the public walk cycles and some weapons and how they interact and move around each other with some really cool animation. So that's what's sort of coming up next.
Now, go. You're live.
Hey everybody, so you just saw Chris talking about the Banu, and now we're going to show a little bit about the Banu. So why don't you come on in here and take a look. Chris is smoking cigars that Matthew sent us. Thank you, Matthew.
Thank you, Matthew.
I know you're a big cigar guy, and we're going to have some more cigars at 9 o'clock tonight, so tune in for that. Tell us a little about the Banu, man. What's up?
Well, this is the original sculpt. It went through a few iterations, but this is sort of the latest approved version that Chris likes. And then it went to basically a color paint.
Wow.
Right, so trying to figure out sort of the texture and everything of what it's going to look like.
I think that guy abducted me once.
Right,
It was a good night. Anal pros. Maybe not. That's really awesome. And then where to go from there?